Hey y'all, welcome back to the vlog. It's been a few weeks since I posted a video and I apologize for that. I've been doing a lot of work where I'm just sitting at a computer all day on the couch, but it has been busy in some regard, wrapping up some of the final things that were still outstanding because of the robbery, specifically buying a car. Those of you that have followed the vlog since the beginning will remember when I first moved here to Lead, the apartment that I was going to move in was kind of unlivable and I had a struggle finding a new apartment, and I said I was going to do a tour once I got all my furniture. Well, all the furniture is in, so I feel like I can show you more of the apartment, and so I will be doing that in the next few weeks. But this week I want to bring you along on one of my favorite traditions for this time of year. As the temperatures start to cool down, one of the things that I really enjoy is bringing out all of my soup recipes and start making soup. That being said, I am going to bring you along for the first chili of the season.
Hi, I'm Steve. As 2020 rocked the world, I decided my life needed a shakeup, and so I started teaching myself to paint on YouTube. I left my dream job and moved across the country to the mountains. At a mile high, Lead, South Dakota is an old mining town going through an exciting revitalization spurred by scientific exploration and technology, research, and development. I'm here to simplify life, explore new passions, and reconnect with what's most important. I don't exactly know what lies ahead, but I do know there's sure to be plenty to see and learn. Join me on this grand adventure.
Before I get started, I want to tell you a little bit about the recipe that I'm using. I've adapted it from this cookbook. It's the Clinton Presidential Center cookbook. And so there was a group of women who gathered monthly to share recipes and cook a meal and share a meal together. That was a supper club. It's a fairly simple chili recipe. The thing I love about this recipe is that it has brown sugar as well as molasses in it. I sub the molasses with maple syrup, and I really like the sweet finish that the chili has. It also has 2 tablespoons of cayenne. I actually only do 1 tablespoon because that's a lot of cayenne. I like the spice. I like my nose running a little bit, but I don't want my mouth burning. But the sweet finish at the end of the chili is really a nice kind of addictive quality, and that's the reason I really love this recipe. I hope you enjoy checking out this recipe with me. So the first step is to saute the onion, green pepper, garlic, and the spices. And so since I am very sensitive to onion, I always use a food processor. So let's get the food processor set up. And then I have the green pepper pre-chopped and it had been frozen. I thawed that, so that's good. And then I have minced garlic as well. We'll get this set on the oven or on the stove over medium heat. Saute that, and then we will brown our ground beef. I usually use ground turkey just because it's leaner, and in chili you can't tell the difference. So that's what we will do. Let's get started with getting this onion ready. Okay, onion mess cleaned up. So let's jump over to the stove and get the peppers, garlic, and onions started sauteing. Okay, so we need to start with a tablespoon of cooking oil. I'm using extra virgin olive oil because that's what I have. And then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. So there's a 1/4 teaspoon. Let's chili powder first. Quarter teaspoon of chili powder. Then 2 tablespoons of cayenne pepper. Oh my goodness. As I said, I do not do 2 tablespoons of cayenne pepper. I do 1 tablespoon. That is a lot of cayenne for me. All right, and then a tablespoon of ground cumin. So let's get that in there. Now we're really starting to fill the kitchen with smells. And sneezes. Okay, now over medium-high heat, we're going to add the onions, garlic. I'm using minced garlic. This requires 2 garlic cloves, so I'm using half a teaspoon of jar garlic. So I'll do 2 of those. And then we'll put in our onions, chopped onions that we just chopped up in the food processor. Mix that with all of our spices, and then we'll add, which I already had pre-prepped, the bell pepper. And I just have green bell pepper, but I usually like to do red and yellow pepper, just because it looks cool in the, it looks nice in the chili. All right, and we will saute this for about 4 or 5 minutes on medium-low heat, just until the peppers and onions start to get soft. So this recipe calls for 3 cans of stewed tomatoes. I like my chili a little more like a stew, very thick, so I drain the tomatoes and the beans just because I like it more full and thick. If you like yours more soupy, I guess, definitely don't drain the tomatoes and don't drain the beans, but that's my preference. So let's drain these tomatoes and get them ready to go in the pot as well. So we've let the garlic, onions, and peppers saute for about 4 or 5 minutes. It's time to add the ground turkey. Okay, so we'll let that cook for about 10 minutes. Then the final stages are adding a little, oh, my eyes are watering again. Sorry. A little mustard, ketchup, and our brown sugar and maple syrup, in my case, maple syrup. And then we add the beans and the stewed tomatoes. So we're almost there, and then we just let it simmer for a little over an hour. Perfect. So this recipe calls for 5 cans of beans. I actually mix and match these. I don't prefer kidney beans, so I actually do 2 cans of black beans. I do 1 can of, these are Great Northern beans, but white beans. And then I do 1 can of dark red kidney beans, and I be sure to have 1 can at least of chili beans. These are red beans in a chili sauce. That adds a little flavor as well. But those are the beans I choose to use. You can use whatever beans you like. I prefer a thicker chili, so I drain most of the liquid off of the beans. Okay, so we're on to the next step. The turkey, the ground turkey, and all the vegetables and all the spices have been cooking for about 10 minutes. It's time now to add the tomatoes, mustard, ketchup. Let those simmer for about 20 minutes. So we'll add that now. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. All of that delicious flavor. We've pre-drained our tomatoes, so let's add in the tomatoes, mix them in. Next we add 1 cup of just regular tomato ketchup, so let's add the ketchup. Stir it in to integrate that, fold it into the soup. Next we add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Because I love the sweet, it won't hurt my feelings if you add a heaping 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup. All right, get all of that sugar dissolved into the stew. Next is a 1/4 cup of molasses. I use, as I said, pure maple syrup. If you like molasses though, molasses is the way to go, and that's the technical way for this recipe. But I like the maple syrup, and I always have maple syrup on hand. I don't cook a lot with molasses, so this works for me. The final thing to add is a tablespoon of mustard. Now I have used regular table mustard, and I've also used like honey Dijon mustard. I've used all types of, I've used stone ground mustard. Don't think it matters, just personal preference. But add the mustard in. This recipe also calls for a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. Worcester. I looked up how to pronounce that once, and that's not how you pronounce it, but I don't remember. But you know what I'm saying. I don't add that just because I don't often have it in my kitchen, and to me it doesn't make a huge difference, but you may want to doctor this recipe however you would like. Okay, with all of those ingredients added, now we are going to let this simmer on low for about 20 minutes. While we're waiting for this to simmer, let's run upstairs and I'll show you what I've been up to this week in the art studio. Welcome to my studio. So over the last few weeks, if you've watched the live stream, I do a weekly live stream where I paint in studio. I've been working on a project of when I moved into this apartment, I decided to buy or replace only those things that I really needed. Over the last few weeks, I realized that I needed some coasters to put cups or mugs or whatever on my coffee table. So I purchased these kind of generic ceramic coasters, and I started looking for reference material, reference photos. At first, I thought maybe I would do flowers or animals or fruit or something like that. But later decided to focus on lighthouses. So I have about 6 or 8 different lighthouse reference photos, and I have started painting those on these coasters. The first one we did was this one, which is a lighthouse in Michigan. It's a red lighthouse. This past week I've been working on this one, and I can't remember where this is, maybe California or somewhere. So that's the project we're working on. And that's what I'm going to work on this afternoon. So let's see how much we can get done in the next little bit here. Okay, so this has been simmering now for about 20-30 minutes. Just time to add the beans, let it simmer for another hour or so, and the chili will be ready to enjoy. Okay, so we've pre-drained the beans, as is my preference. So we'll just fold them in a little bit at a time. They're all mixed together. So we'll get a really good mixture. Look at that deliciousness. All right, the beans are in. Now it's just a waiting game. One more hour and we'll be ready to eat. Well, it's finally time to enjoy all our hard work. Let me show you how I love my chili. First, you have to add a little cheddar cheese. Next is some sour cream, of course. Then I mix it all together so that cheese melts right into the chili. The sour cream is mixed in. So it's just kind of a goopy, delicious mess. The final step for me, some Frito scoops on top. And here you have it, my version of Frito chili pie. So good. I hope you enjoyed this video, as we're definitely in soup season here in the mountains. I'll be sure to put my altered recipe for the chili in the description of this video, so if you want to try it out, definitely check that out. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you're subscribed and click the bell notification so you'll be sure to be notified of future videos. Next week, look out for the tour of my new apartment here and the update video coming soon on where we stand with all things related to the robbery and insurance claims. I will see you on the next video.